Hey everybody, hey traders, happy Friday. Welcome back to the poll report. Let's get started. Give me a quick audio visual check. Everything's coming through loud and clear. Brand new workstation today. Get the computer up and running and hopefully no problems. Should be a little bit faster, no issues, no leaks. I'm saying goodbye to Google Chrome and hopefully Microsoft Edge does the trick. All right. We are streaming out there on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and Twitch. So let's get going. Discord is up and running. We'll bring up the charts, bring up the chat. Perfect. Okay, here we go. Where are we at? Well, pre-market, we are up just a little bit. We've had a sell-off of about 2% in the SPY. Right there, around 2.5% from top to bottom. The NASDAQ, a little bit worse for wear, but right at the trend line break, we're sitting at 5.37. So I am wondering on the NASDAQ side, if I were to look at a dip, if I bought this dip, stop loss below this little demand zone, that would be about a $9 stop. Do we come back and fill that gap? I'm curious. Let's see. So I'm considering a little allocation towards the Qs. Um, the reason the market was sinking this week was, I mean, we saw semiconductors selling off, but Nvidia is not at fresh lows. It's been bouncing around pretty aggressively at that 118 spot. So lows around 116, 117. We're popping back up here to this 120 to 121. Um, I would like this thing to make a decision either up or down and hopefully get a little bit more follow through. So can we go a little bit further down? And if so, does that bring the markets with it? Mainly the Qs, possibly the S&P. Anyway, we'll address it as is. Let me see if I can bring up my fudge. All right, I'm going to need. All right. Well, I need to install a piece of software for my gamma levels. I'm going to see where we're at today. Let me load up. All right. Got some stuff to download. I was up all night getting this computer up and running, doing a backup on my old tower and a couple applications I need to get installed. So anyway, we'll talk charts this morning, do our thing. Rev, good morning. LG, good morning. Denise, good morning. David, Angela, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. All right. So we are sitting here about $1 up pre-market. Futures fairly steady, fairly flat. NASDAQ futures, we'll figure it out. Qs, pre-market up just shy of $1. The Dow down just around 70 cents or so. The Russell up a little bit, about $1. The VIX spiked up. This was an interesting. I had a chart alarm go off and said it was at like fresh lows, and I'm like, the heck was that? I'm not sure how that price point happened on the VIX, but we're sitting here around 1610. Obviously, we've had a pretty good elevated move. I've got some positions running on the VIX. I've got a 1050 call and a $20 call. I'm looking to see if these levels get hit. Do we get up to $20, $21? Let's set a chart alarm here. $21. Okay. There we go. Just gonna open up my tasty trade here. All right, just running through a download really quickly. Dollar index. I said watch out for that support level at 103.90 to 10400. So far, it is reacting. So does this mean I'm, long the dollar? Not necessarily. If we come back up to highs, it's look, if it comes back to highs, we're still at range, right? Range levels here, and I could see this continuing to play out until something bigger, more macro, longer term plays out. Uh, Certainly vulnerable to the downside, right? Downside to 101, but we've got to break to fresh lows. And even if we did see that move, if we break and then retest, I look at this 103.90 to 104 as a break of support to become resistance, and then see if we are going to trend lower to 101. So there's still some decent setups that the dollar is going to get weaker, but the risk-off tone we saw yesterday. Let me bring this up here. Okay, yesterday dollar was strong, CAD was strong, everything else was down. JPY New Zealand down. Today, a little bit more quiet on the volatility front. New Zealand dollar slightly softer, dollar slightly stronger. Our New Zealand dollar position should be doing a little bit better. Daniel says tech and software problems being reported across banks, airlines, and some 911s. Hmm, that's that is certainly wild. I did not read about that. Okay. All right. Looks like I got my Tasty platform up and running. There we go. Okay. Just feeling everything out here. Browser, mobile, we got that. Got that. All right, we're good there. Good there. Good there. There we go. Okay, and then activity over here. Oops. All right, minimize that. Keep going. So dollar index support. Okay, this doesn't mean that I'm buying. Let's take a look at individual dollar crosses. So we got filled on a pullback here for our Aussie dollar. 67.15 was filled, and stop loss is down here in the middle of this. Um, it's definitely vulnerable. Small trade size, manageable risk. I mean, is this going to be a fake out? I hope not. I don't necessarily want to put the stop loss like it, right there in the middle of this should be fine. I don't want to put the stop loss down here because that's an easy stop hunt, if you ask me. So I'm just gonna let it hang out. I think we got filled on two small orders. One was a 67 15, and then the pocket right here with a stop loss just below. And we'll see if this actually turns and stabilizes to head back to the upside. Risk appetite would help the Aussie dollar. Risk appetite would hopefully weaken the dollar index, and we'll see if this one holds. Let's take a look at our other dollar pairs. Euro dollar ran up to take out a recent high. I still don't like the overall structure on this one. If we break and roll over, then perhaps we're coming right back down on the euro dollar with a stop loss above, and we're just coming back into lows. and equal highs, equal lows, and it just becomes very rangy. Okay. Angela says widespread disruption has been linked to an issue with CrowdStrike. Glitch in their software update last evening affected Microsoft front systems. Call it bad supply chain testing. Okay. So what's CrowdStrike showing us? Is their stock being affected by this? Yep. Outage likely to impact business activity near term. Oppenheimer says Treasury yields. Okay. So we're down 43 bucks in old CrowdStrike. That's not good, but it's what you get. No, just kidding. But no, that's a move. DPZ, this is one that had earnings this week. We're still down from a close of 470 all the way down to 410. We expected a $30 move this week on Domino's, got a $70 move. That's a pretty impressive push. So there's a pretty easy earnings play there with the credit spread. That's you know, showing some good profit. Yesterday I showed this trade. If you collected about $7 on the trade, $7.50 on the trade from the initial credit spreads, yesterday was trading for $4 and change. So it would have been about $2.50, $2.70. So take a risk of 250, make 250. That's not a bad play. It's a 100% return on risk. Not too bad. From Canadian Spectre, all my accounts are working so far. Trading, brokerage, banking, only transaction not working is CDN to USD. Okay, got it. Okay, and then Netflix had earnings last night. We're sitting here $6 whole with an expected move of 66 to 82. Now the good thing is my trade on Netflix goes out to next Friday. The bad thing is we have no earnings catalyst. So they beat revenue, they beat earnings with EPS. I'm not sure what the forward guidance was. I think it was I saw mixed mixed reports on guidance. So that's a very quiet move though. So I mean, if I take a small loss, it's a small loss. But because they're both credit spreads, I'm going to let it give me some time. And in the money, in the money. Shouldn't have any assignment here, but I will double check. Let me check on some Netflix. So Netflix, I might take an assignment on JD today. And K-Web, I'm going to try to do a quick repair on those. Netflix, just credit spreads from what I can see. And then Broken Wing Butterflies right here. So Broken Wing Butterfly for about 150 bucks profit for today. And then credit spreads out to next Friday. I've got also a Broken Wing Butterfly to next week on SPX and NDX, which is a little drop lower. Is fine. JD, I'm going to take assignment around 26 bucks. Let me go to all right, let me see my break even on my tracker sheet here. So stocks I need to watch today for potential ownership. SLV may be assigned today. SLV is trading at 27.19. I have a 29, 28, 27, 26 put. So I could be looking to get assignment by the end of the day at 29.28 with a $2 and $3 credit for all my accounts. I'll own the shares probably around 25. I could do a quick repair on, let's go gold and silver, and then I'll talk SLV. So gold, oof, that is a gnarly little turn on gold. So are we still dealing with this where gold, pokes all-time highs, sets up a sell trade? What was looking, pretty good is now starting to show signs of this could come right back down to the lows. And we're about to find out. So gold turned lower. Silver, what? That is nasty. Gold and silver turning lower in a big way. Oof. Comic Silver delivery intentions breakdown. That's from July 19. Oh, So 15 minutes ago, breaking news. That's a big drop in silver. Just in the last 4 days, silver's down 8%. Well, I might be dealing with some silver futures here. 29.16. I have a 26.25 by 26, 26.25, 26 by 25.50, which is still down here a little bit, but I believe I put in one that was around 28.50. Let me check my SI here for a second. SI here, 26 by 20 or 26.25 by 26. And okay, actually those are okay. I thought I put one in a little bit higher. Maybe the credit wasn't what I wanted. So gold still okay at the 2300 level for now, but that's a interesting little spill on gold and silver. That's about right. LG says gold went down because I bought some of it. That happens. Yep. Should have let us know. Yep. We would have booked our profits. 3M cup and handle. So what are you looking at here? 3M cup and handle. Like this, and we're breaking. I mean, if 3M bounces back around 90 bucks, I mean, I like that better positioning. Let's see here. 3M. Have a dividend, lower beta. Pre-market's up just a little bit. That's not a bad one. I mean, if I went out to, I'm curious what a leap looks like on 3M. IV's probably a little bit lower with a slightly lower beta stock, but if I can get a $80, $75 leap out there, let's find out. It's opening bell in about 12 minutes, so I'll see what this isn't necessarily live price, but let's find out what I can muster up here. Okay. All right, gonna try one more thing really quickly for a download. Got it here. Let's open this up. Shoot. There we go. Next. Okay, hopefully my option software with dynamic trends will download. Launch program. Yes. Okay, and the username. Come on. Fudge. All right. I might need Hmm. All right, I might need to download link. Double check and provide. Okay, we'll try that. Morning, Donna. How are you? So, Daniel, what are you trying to do with Triple M? I was looking to see if I went 3M, trade it, and go out to just shy of a leap, 336. Can I position for one in an area that I like? And the answer to that is no. So, could I do a ratio spread here? Maybe with the $80 being two contracts. So for a 25-cent debit, I would own the shares around $70 and change. So I don't love it that it's a debit, but let me see something here. Like that's not terrible. If this is accurate, that spread is pretty wide. But if I can get $1.60, maybe not. I don't think I'm going to get that. That's not going to work. Bid price on this is 0 to 14 cents. Um, I don't think that's going to be a play. I'm just looking way out of the way. If I was going to take the trade, I'd look at like, okay, I don't mind 3M. We're breaking a longer term trend line, clearing this level here. I could get a little bit more aggressive from like the $90 handle. Maybe start my kind of core position and journey there. But ideally would be why not position it at the lows and get it cheap enough if I wanted to own it. Or with options, typically I don't want to own it, and I just try to generate some income. But if I did have to own it, I'm trying to own it at a pretty good discount, which would be $75, $70. So I guess what I'll do is I'll take a look here, see if we come back to like 95, 95 potential long position, and then see if I can. I'll probably just start out with like a credit spread there, and let it be at the money. Or I look at something, let's say, in the money, and do a bull put spread in the money. Have it be, let's say, I can collect like four, 80 cents on the dollar, 75 cents on the dollar, make it very inexpensive, and give us some time. Maybe that's another way to play this versus just buying the shares outright. Okay. All right. Matthew, good morning. Mason, yeah, we just took a look at gold and silver. Gold took a pretty big spill yesterday. The last couple of days have been down hard on gold, and silver even worse. So I still like the setup. I'm just thinking, well, so much for the rally, pullback, and this was, I was thinking, a little bull flag to continue to head higher, but it's just not there yet. So I could see silver. I mean, if we hold here, that's going to be super important. If we don't hold here, then this is the area that I'm watching right back here. This is XAG, so back around $26. So if it's high, low, lower, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low, or just falls. If it falls inefficiently, I'm a little bit more inclined to buy it. So if we just fall like straight down to 26 and we kind of stabilize there, I'll probably establish another position and look to go up. And also, I might start another campaign of puts like I did before. So, we're sitting here at 28.9. My SLV is around the low 27s. If I get assigned, I mean, I had a 29, 28, 27, and 26, all puts. And right now, this would get assigned, this would get assigned, not assigned, not assigned. Depending on today's price, we're going to find out. If it goes lower today and I get assigned at 27, that's okay too. I'd still own the shares. My cost basis would be 27.89. I'd own the shares at $28, and I would take off about $3 on that, $3.29 from the puts that I had credits for. So I'll own the shares around $24 and change, which is down here, which is a pretty easy spot to repair it. Okay. All right. 3M's. I mean, 3M's a big company. I'm trying to think of a equivalent. I'd put them in the category. I mean, obviously different industries, but I put them in the category of like a kind of a household name. Um, Always pretty steady. If I go to simply Wall Street, you get signed in here. Where's my Simply Wall Street? Great. Just signed in with my email account, hopefully. All right, let's go 3M. So there's snowflake analysis on 3M. So some of these, when it says high level of debt, companies that need a little bit of a relief, corporate debt, refinancing, restructuring. AT&T has been on the rally. 3M looks like we've come off those lows by about 20% or so. Pfizer, there's also debt, dividend of 5.81, not well covered by earnings, but earnings forecast to grow by 58%, trading well below estimated values. Discounted cash flow looks pretty solid. This is looking like $140, $150 stock. So we have a price to sales ratio of 1.8. Expected to be 176. So, I mean, we're undervalued from that standpoint. Earnings forecast to grow is good. I think they need to get their debt burden under control a little bit. But I don't think it's a bad spot to consider. So I'm going to put 3M on the watch list. And what other competitors do we have? Honeywell, Icon Enterprises, Brookfield, and we have BBU and BBUC competition for 3M. Near-term growth looks limited, but a fresh start's welcome. That was just yesterday from Seeking Alpha. Limited edition back-to-school countdown kit. Oh, man. Nothing like the old Trapper Keepers going back to school. All right. So Pfizer, I have a 25 by 32. It's a calendar spread, and I've got my chart alarm set there. I think expiration is today on the $32, so I'll look to add another leg to it, or if we can cross 32, I'll probably just end up taking some profit. Let's go to oil really quickly. Oil is kind of leaking down towards $80. $80 is still an important spot. 77.50. Do we just drift a little bit lower and then bounce? Is 80 support? Opening bell is upon us. It's now opening bell officially. I just heard the sirens go off. So is this support and then another notch higher? Maybe. My stop loss is on crude. Futures are down below that 72.50 handle. So watching gold. See how gold trades today. I guess I've got a chart alarm set down here at 26 and change. Let me see my SLV. We're down to 26.44. So it is potentially an assignment on the 29, 8, and 7, depending on today's price action. So I'm going to turn this chart alarm down. Let's go. Well, I guess if I take the assignment, fine. But I'm trying to figure out like how aggressive do I want to get on the repairs. I still like, owning shares of SLV and taking profit up here at 32. So if I own 29.87, I'd own the shares at 28 minus $3. I'd own the shares at 24 and change. So I mean I could quickly repair those. for a couple of bucks. I'd like to obviously have some upside on silver. So that's what I'm working on right now. Okay, Bitcoin, bit of a pause. Bitcoin looks pretty solid for a break. A little bit of a pause or flag. I didn't draw that very well, but pause, little flag, and then hopefully another decent surge towards highs at 73 and change. 74 would be all-time highs. That chart alarms is 73,882. That would be fresh all-time highs. Ethereum at 34, same type of posture. This one just didn't have a bear trap. This just came to equal lows. So pushing up, pausing, looking to see if we get to 4,100. The all-time highs in Ethereum is 48. Copper continues to just get bashed to the downside. I think at this stage on copper, this is also a potential scare of global slowdown, and copper's taking it hard. So I'm just going to chill on this for right now. If we come back into the let's say 380, 360 zone, maybe looking at copper futures, maybe trying to go out far enough to get it out of the way at 320 or so. Um, but yeah, this is still kind of multi-year range bound in a channel. I just don't want to catch this thing. There's a lot of volatility on copper right now. The Nikkei stabilizing, but has also corrected. So from high to low, we've had a decent drop of around 5 or 6% on the Nikkei. Japanese yen has reflected that just a little bit since the intervention. Let's go to the DAX, the German index, also down. Okay. Keep an eye on this DAX. This is the German index. Is this a ascending wedge? Maybe. But if we break that structure, then watch out. We could be gap filling. We could be putting in a top. I'm drawing that right now. It's like, is that a head and shoulders? Right? Is that a head and shoulders? Maybe. Left shoulder, head to neckline, right shoulder. If we break this area without stabilizing, then we could be looking at a topping pattern on the DAX. The FTSE in the UK, this one is pretty crazy. I want to see if I can look at an ETF here. I could do an iron. This could be pretty good for an iron condor if not much happens. Even for like 20 to 30 days, see if this would just kind of stay as is. But I guess if I'm doing an iron condor, it's kind of out of the money. Maybe the better thing would be to do a short straddle, because if I were to do it at the money around like 81.50, and then whatever the expected move is, so I would sell here. I would sell here 2 legs, and then you buy one and you buy one, and if price stays where it is, you're getting the most out of that time decay, as opposed to iron condor, which is out of the money, and you're making maybe 20 cents on the dollar. This one you're getting it pretty much at the money. So that might be a strategy I look at if I can try to find an ETF on the FTSE. Let me see if I can find that here. Let's see, FTSE ETFs. So you could trade the Vanguard FTSE fund. So VGK. That's a Vanguard instrument. I doubt there's options around that. That doesn't look the same price-wise either. All right, never mind. Hence saying stabilizing. Apple stable. Amazon. Have we had a double-digit dip? We were down about 10% on Amazon. I've got it collared, so my protection's around 185. I'm going to just keep this protection going to the end of September just in case. If all of a sudden we're, ripping up here to highs again, fantastic. Everything looks a lot easier. If we're going to the downside, I've got this out to the end of September. So any type of decline here, I can lower my cost basis from, I'm already owning shares of 137 Amazon. So if I can lower it again, great. But my put is 185. So I'm covered at 210 and I am long put at 185. So any more downside for the next 30 to 45 days, I'll look at that for some potential profit. Again, it's profit just to like offset the drawdown. So I mean, I'm in profit. I'm trying to make as much money as I can on Amazon. Also lower my cost basis where I can. Google, all of our Mag sevens are down a little bit. Meta's down. Microsoft is down. Some of these might show some very quick dips, and maybe that's it, right? I mean, shedding a sub 10% dip, but making it a little bit attractive. Here we are, Netflix volatility up to 678, still nowhere close to the expected move right now. Nvidia 119, chart alarm set at 113 and 140. Watching that closely. Tesla pretty stable at 258, 248. Okay, let's do some currencies. Yep, let's do some currencies. So dollar index again, going back to that. Dollar index showing support of this 103.90 handle. And let's go currencies. So Aussie Swiss. Let's do the whole Swiss basket. So Aussie Swiss with a pullback. I like how this did fall pretty inefficiently for these last 2 days of trading. So if we pull back into this trend line here, I would look for some short-term confirmation for a long kind of. If you want to take a non FIFO trade, depending on your broker, TastyFX as well as Oanda is now allowing non FIFO trades. So pretty good for management. You just have to have a different trade size. Oanda still allows nano lots with their web platform. TastyFX does not. I was bugging them about that. I was like, come on, guys, what would it take? And they're like, it's there's just a lot more, a lot more accounting, a lot more headaches. So they're not going to do it, but they're doing the non-FIFO, which is just use different trade size. If you use different trade size, you can have non-FIFO, put in your stops and limits to individual orders. So I just parked some fresh capital with TastyFX this last week. I'm migrating from Oanda to TastyFX for a couple accounts. Yeah, I know the nano lots. Yeah, I know you asked that, Denise. I wish they would, but um, one thing that I also want is I don't want server disruptions, which I've been getting a lot of. It's been screwing up my robots a little bit for Oanda. So I'm looking for either one, my MT4 account, and two, a web-based account with their API feed. So it should be a little bit more straightforward to have a VPS API feed running copiers and things like that with TastyFX should be a little bit more straightforward. Um, Less headaches. And also, if I need something, I can, I'm fortunate I can go right to the top. I can, email CEO at TastyFX and get some resolution. So, all right, we'll do the Swiss basket here. Um, as I typically am with the Swiss franc, I want to see the Swiss get weaker. I want to see this positive swap trade play out. I could see this area with a trend line support showing. If we come back to the same level here, looking for a short term bounce, you could take a non FIFO into that as a little scalp, or we can look for some fresh highs. I'm going after 62 to 64 is my pocket. So this is my profit target up here. Okay, I'm still long on Aussie Swiss. My trade size is extremely small. It has been small, um, and that's it. I mean, I'm not going to change. And truthfully, even if it were to come down into the same lows, I'm still interested in buying low and holding low, and then waiting for a reversal pattern. I will hold this thing. Okay. If my drawdown goes from a 3-4% drawdown to a 6-7-8% drawdown, I'm okay with that. Why? Because I'm looking to make, 30, 40, 50% on this account, hopefully 100% on this account. So if I can somehow, you know, magically create, or I guess, construct a, less than 10% drawdown for a 50% upside or 100% upside, I will do that. So I know it comes with the territory, especially if I'm not using stop losses, but I have to trade small. Okay. So we'll find out. All right. That's Aussie Swiss. CAD Swiss. Let's go to the Swiss basket. Also, kind of the same type of thing. Is this a head and shoulders pattern? Here's a really easy trade. If you don't want to deal with like, oh, the Swiss is getting stronger. What if this falls lower? Well, what if it does? Okay, I will probably just either look for some short-term confirmation or wait for this low and see if this is just going to hang out and play out and play out and play out. And then once we go, we go. I'm still going to 7,100. Okay, there's all the way back here at 68 as well. So either this is going to, come back down and test the lows, or we're still sitting in the head and shoulders trade where this is creating and finding that right shoulder. So if this is left shoulder, head to neckline, right shoulder, it's messy, it's noisy, but as long as we get to the neckline and then above it, that's our measured move, right? If we take a measured move from there, project it to symmetry, that's probably still a move towards 68, profit level 1, right? Pull back again, push to a wave 5, we're pushing up into this zone for some profit here, right? So I'm still sticking to my guns on Swiss crosses, Euro Swiss, same thing. I think this one's a little bit more of a crown pattern. We had talked about this at length. If this is a crown pattern, left tip, center tip, right tip, looking for symmetry up here. If it pulls back, then there's a low, there's a high, high, low, lower, high, lower, low. If it's a double bottom, I'll treat it like a double bottom. That goes all the way back to the highs and then doubles. It's a great freaking trade. If it's a harmonic pattern, there's a good way to find a bottom. We find symmetry on this A, B, C, D correction. We get some bottoms in. We take it back to the harmonic merge for a short-term trade, and we see if this is going to reignite a trend. Trade it to symmetry, probably up here towards the 18127. I'm still bullish on thing towards parity 1.01, 1.02. Okay. Pound Swiss, I'm still long. This one's looking a little bit better. I mean, I didn't add anything with my last portfolio builder class on pound Swiss because of the margin. But if we're just going to go sideways here, I'm probably just going to wait. I'm holding, I think, 4 positions, maybe 3 or 4 positions on pound Swiss. I'm still targeting 1.20. So if it's sideways here for a little bit, that's okay. If it's a harmonic pattern, here's here's a low to high. All this is correction. I'm still measuring this move up to that yellow box. It's 2100. That's symmetry, right? But if we have it, symmetry is here, so maybe it's up. We have a little bit of a pullback against that, set up a harmonic pattern. That's fine, and then we resume. So if this is a crown, so inside of this left tip, center tip, right tip, let it play out. Whatever we need to do here, build it back up, and then get another push. Once we have another impulsive wave, we want to hang on to dear life. That could be a good win. Okay, New Zealand Swiss, pretty violent pullback. Longer term trend line. My target on this one is all this support around 6,000. Support resistance around 6,000. If we pull back to a double bottom, it's fine. I'll trade the range. I'll buy it low and I'll wait and I'll hold. Okay, maybe this has to carve out a low before it finally breaks and heads higher. I mean, I think if you give this currency pair enough time, we're probably coming back to like 6,600. I just don't know how long I want to sit on these trades outside of if everything's profitable. I'm not going to wait forever, But I've already been waiting for a year and a half. Dollar Swiss, like this trade as well. Head and shoulders here, left shoulder, head to neckline, setting up the right shoulder, watching carefully. This right shoulder might set up here around 8,600. Okay, I'm looking for a bullish pattern at 8,600. If we get one, then we can start adding more to our winners there. And this may not be dollar related. This might be more of a Swiss basket push. Okay, so I'm still watching. I think the structure is still solid. That's Swiss basket. Okay, yen basket. Yen, I don't know, man. Be careful on these yen crosses. They're still volatile. They're still jumpy. There's been some looks of some structural damage, but I don't know. If you trust the yen, you're one of one. Because if you've been trading the market for the last year or 2 or 5 or 10 or 15 or 20, you probably have had some interesting stories to tell on the yen where it's like, oh yeah, the yen's a real piece of crap to trade. It can be, it can be a real peach, but it can also be a real beach, you know. So be careful on the yens. New Zealand yen dropping. Maybe the New Zealand yen might be a better setup for falling enough that if it comes into trendline support, a fairly tight bounce. If we have confirmation, then take it up into the pocket trade. But that would be, reward to risk that's got to be favorable. I don't see that right now. and I certainly don't feel like catching a falling knife if the Kiwi is weaker. The dollar yen. So I mean, it did a little bit of damage to this inner trend line. Are we going to pull back here and then start to fade? That is not going to be a good thing for the markets, right? If this is the Nikkei 225, if we drop on the dollar yen, this is going down. If we drop on the dollar yen, I bet our markets are going down as well. Okay. So I think that's what's also on the cusp here, or brink, if you will. If we are going to, continue to go lower, I could see this happening to the end of the year just for some price rebalancing. But for right now in the summer, I could see this as a low and then more risk appetite, which pushes this thing higher. We have another rate of change conversation around the yens, and then another intervention at a higher price. I don't think the top is in. I don't. And I'm a little cautious of the yen, as one should be. And I certainly don't like trying to trade around a central bank that's willing to intervene and fudge up everything in the currency market, because what are you going to do? It's hard to know where the top and bottom is. It's hard to know what the BOJ policy is going forward. And if we knew, then we'd trade it, and I'd load up on the yen crosses. But I don't, and they're crazy, and they're unpredictable, and they're not really that efficient. So I'm happy to watch. I'm happy to comment on them, but man, I am not enjoying trading them. So I'll wait, you know? And what would be kind of nicer would be I just keep the exposure light and I don't do anything silly. And I can participate from more of a, stock position. And this is FXY. And if we have a big rebalancing in the yen, then that's my trade, right? And so as fun as it might be to be, in Forex, maybe it's easier just to hold this with zero negative swap and get something that goes up 20%, right? I mean, if I get back to those levels at 72 from current price, could I get a 25% rally? Sure. Well, I could juice that into maybe turning my positions into 100% gain. So if I took let's say 3% stake in FXY in my portfolio, and I can turn that into 100% gain on that capital, well, that's a 3% chunk of my portfolio for a bit of an equalizer, you know. So there's ways to trade it, but I will continue to do my best to try to find good direction on the yen. I don't trust it. You know, I think we pay close attention, um, but if we're going to see another rip to the all time highs, which would make sense if we just kind of lull in the rest of July, and then August, September, maybe the typical and historical dip and correction, and then we still have a strong Q4. Maybe it works out just fine. Mason says triple bottom on the Aussie Swiss. Well, we're not at a triple bottom yet. And as they say, there's actually no such thing as a triple bottom. So there's support right there, right? Could this be some type of head and shoulders trade? Yeah, maybe, right there. I mean, this could be the right shoulder, and if we break above the neckline, I measure my move. So that's if we hold this higher low. Okay, if we don't hold this higher low and this thing, breaks this trend line and heads back down, well, I'm just going to buy some more support, and we'll deal with this range. This will be support. This will be resistance, and you're looking at about a 56 and change to 61, about a 400 pip range. But to be determined. Otherwise, if it just pulls back into the trend line, comes back up, breaks the highs, then off we go. And I'd like to be long. Okay. All right. Couple things here. I'm trying to get my workstation up and running for I think I got it. Come on. No. Fudge. I'm trying to get my 10-hour trend up and running. Username. Let's find out here. Message says not entitled. Please contact customer support. All right, I'll let the team try to hook me up with that. Okay, so I'll get out of that for right now. I'm going to jump on with the A1 trading team here in about 10 minutes. If you'd like to join me, I'll just stream this again on the Pulver Report YouTube channel, youtube.com/Chris Pulver. We'll continue on. We'll just add another dynamic. I'm wondering if I'm going to be jumping on with Nick or maybe jump on with Frank for a little bit. Netflix didn't do much. We'll probably talk some stocks, see how things are looking. Back to my watch list here. We're up a little bit on the day briefly, but we've obviously had some. We've experienced a little bit of a drawdown. I mean, for me, the biggest swing that I saw, we're at 217.99. Let me see what my IWMs are trading for right here. I put in a pending order yesterday on the IWM. We're trading around 39 bucks. I'm going to see if we can get back up to $40 and take some credit on this. That'd be about $11 credit. So I'm looking for a few bucks there. I don't mind taking this down to like 39. Let me see if I can get filled at 39. Let's go 38.85. I think I'm just going to close it and take the profit. Okay, that's filled. 38.80 filled. All right, I'm just going to swap these out. So 38, 38.80 filled. 38.85. Ooh, 38.90 filled. 38.90 filled. 38.90. Ooh, 95. Survey says. Nope. Yep. All right, I got filled. Sweet. On both. Check this one for IWM. Let's see, IWM here. Yes. Okay, and then last one. 38.90. 95. Can I sneak it in there? Yes. Okay. So that net position wise should have been 31.20. Let me go calculator. So I put on that initial trade for 31.20, take away 87 cents, 30.33, close it out for 38.95 times 200, 17.24 in profit. Not a bad little play on the short term for IWM with that pop to the upside, just taking some profit, protecting it, limiting some of that exposure. And I still want to see, and I've got some long positions in here, like the 240 and 245 out of the monies. So if we still are going to try to test these highs by the end of the year, if we get the 240, 250, that trade's going to pay very well. If not, it's a somewhat, defined risk, pretty light exposure. But I was in for about $6,000 on that option. I just closed out for 1,700. So I will take that. So $1,700 divided by about $6,000. I mean that's a pretty good return on capital, if you ask me. Versus letting this thing get volatile, and because it's a long option, if we go up and we go down and then we just go sideways, the value of that option kind of decays quickly with volatility. Speaking of volatility, VIX is at 1605. I'm going to see if we are hitting some fresh highs. Can I get a hedge on my VIX to actually give me intrinsic value? And yesterday I was a little disappointed to see my 1050 call was not trading for. You freaking turds. It's only up 35 cents. You got to be kidding me. So I've got a 35-cent hedge on the VIX. Ugh. Boring. I'm not going to take profit yet. I'm going to give myself some more time. Okay. Come join me. I'm just going to take a small break. we'll be back at 10 a.m. Eastern time. I'll tag team with A1 Trading. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thanks for being here. Before you go, hit the thumbs up button for me, please. That helps the channel a lot. I hope you all know this. I mean, it just, that little click goes a long ways. It just shows that as you're watching this, as you're taking in this information, it's just an easy way to show your support for the channel. And it helps this video get out there on those searches where if somebody's typing in something for trading or live trading, typically I pop up. So make it more visible. Let's get more people in here. Good stuff. Okay.